Kyle Walker comfortably Manchester City's best ever right back?
Debatable. I mean, Zabaleta was always the one. And thank God he's been ousted by Kyle Walker. Thank God! Finally!
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Rest is Football. I'm Gary Lineker, and joining us as always, the dynamic duo of Alan Shearer and Micah Richards. Now, as you probably know by now, we like to mix things up a bit on our Friday episodes, and we've got something a little different again for you today. As it's the turn of the year, what we're going to do on this episode is a little award ceremony for 2023. We've got a number of categories, I think 11 of them all together, and we're going to pick our winners of the year. Now, obviously, this will automatically be the most prestigious awards in football. Not at all. And it's not one to take too seriously for those that always get upset by the minor, always get upset by the littlest things. Yeah, let's have a bit of fun with it.
The difference is, though, Gaz, we actually made the list this time. We can't fob that off on some producer from the BBC. This is our list.
Oh, that's a good point, Michael. You're referring there, of course, to the BBC Match of the Day top 10 that we're given a list of those top 10, and for those that miss out, we just play so we can't necessarily do it now. We will no doubt have forgotten somebody in some particular category, but we'll do our very best. What awards did you win in your career, Alan? Individual awards for these kind of things?
Football Writers, PFA a couple of times. Don't know whether I mentioned it before, but 3 golden boots. Look at Micah laughing. I can see his shoulders going up and down already. Look.
Let's say here, Alan, that between the three of us, we have 6 top division, as top flight, you should call it, golden boots. And how many of them have you got, Michael? That's cool. He's a defender. It's not all about scoring goals.
Yes, it is.
Oh, what?
Right, it is.
Yes, it is, Al. I agree totally. Yeah, let's have a bit of fun with it. Micah, did you ever win the Barclays Player of the Month?
Oh! Well, actually, if you see the way I've positioned my camera, if you just look over my left shoulder.
That is why I asked you. There he is. He's now reaching up for it, grabbing it down.
Reach for the star. Oh, can you see that? Let me go to the left a little bit.
Look at that little bad boy.
You can see that? Look, who's this?
What a beautiful trophy.
Oh no!
Are you sure that's not?
That's not the man. That's not it. That's just the.
Oh, what is that?
That's what he set his bank account up. That's what they give him.
They give you an award. It looks like a Twitter logo.
This is just the man of the match from the Villa game. But I have got the other one somewhere, and I shall find it.
So you got man of the match in a Villa game?
For Aston Villa versus Manchester City. Can you believe that?
Oh.
No.
Well, I can.
I think they felt sorry for me.
Please tell me that you've just put that out on purpose. That's not out every day, is it?
What we have, Al, we're on a rotation policy, you know what I mean? So, depending what we talk about, I mean, next week we can talk about the Premier League if you want to. We won't get into that right now. For those who can't see me, I'm holding up a mini-school Premier League that Manchester City bought for us when we won the league in 11-12. But we don't need to go there. It's not about me, lads. It's not about me.
It's not. I love what a trophy. Right, the first of our 11 categories that we're going to pick our winners for is best goalkeeper. We'll start at the back. Obviously, it's not a position any of us have played, but one thing's for sure. I mean, obviously, this will be largely based around the Premier League. Other things will come into consideration, I'm sure. But we've come up with 3 candidates for this award. The obvious 2, Ederson, he's had 12 clean sheets this calendar year. Alisson, who's had 16 clean sheets, and Emi Martinez. We've gone with to Aston Villa with 13 clean sheets. It's always difficult to separate Ederson and Alisson, isn't it? Because they're so fantastic. Emi Martinez has come into things. Funnily enough, I was watching. Have you seen it? There was a documentary series out called Captains of the World. It's on Netflix. It's basically about the World Cup in Qatar. It's a 6-part series. It's absolutely brilliant, and the footage and the access they've got behind the scenes, because they did it in association with FIFA. So the in dressing room stuff of that World Cup, and Martinez is one of the people that features quite heavily in that. Really recommend it actually to anyone that's not seen it yet. It's really, really good. Made by the Fulwell team, the Turner brothers. So it's well worth a watch for what it's worth. Right, Ederson, Alisson, or Martinez? Who wants to kick off?
Well, if it was over the last, I mean, I know it's over 2023, so you miss out by a month. Emi Martinez for me, because if we're including that, then it would have to be him. But Alisson for me, it's a bit of a coin. There's nothing to choose between those 2. I mean, all 3 are very good goalkeepers. Martinez has got he's got a lot about him in terms of shithousery, the way he goes on, but I like that in a way.
There's a lot of that features in the
I bet. But he's a very good goalkeeper. But Alisson, for me, gets the nod.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I'm surprised there, because you're always a man that goes on about, but what's he?
No, I just think what.
And this is the calendar year. Don't forget, 12 months. Yeah, okay, but fair enough.
No, it's difficult because I actually agree with Alan on this.
My word!
Someone who's actually won the treble, obviously, he should get the award. Like you said, he missed out by a month with the World Cup. Martinez, but Alisson, we need to be more specific. We're talking Premier League based, aren't we? That's what you said at the start, Gary. You said you can have influences from the rest, but we're talking, you said mostly Premier League, didn't you?
Well, that's because that's what we watch. But, you can take other things into consideration. There are no rules. We just make them up as we go along. So
no rules. Yes, our rules. We'll do what we want. Exactly. I agree with Alan Shearer. Alisson in the Premier League has been phenomenal. Even when last season that Liverpool wasn't playing that great, when Van Dijk was injured and getting back to his best, he was the key man every single week. The amount of saves he makes for this team, and not just basic saves, we're talking about incredible saves, one-on-ones, waits till the last minute before he actually makes a move, sort of puts the decision on the striker early doors, and then he comes and smothers him. So if we're talking just the league, I'm going to go Alisson. I agree with Alan.
We're not talking just the league.
Yeah, but I mean... yeah.
Right, okay. I'll have my 2 penneth worth.
Go on.
I actually will go with Ederson. I love Martinez. I think he's had an amazing year. And as Alan said, if the World Cup had been in January, not December, we certainly would have taken that into account. But I'm going to go with Ederson. He conceded fewer goals, although Alisson had more clean sheets. But I think you have to take into consideration the trophies that they collected. And I would also say his ability with the ball at his feet is second to none in terms of goalkeepers. But it looks like I've been outvoted, because that's the way we're going to do this. We are a democracy on this podcast.
Are you sure about that?
And you two have gone with Alisson. I've gone with Edison. So I think overall, the Goalkeeping Award, the Rest is Football Creosote Awards, the first one of which...
How is your arse anyway, Micah? Sorry.
Yeah. Did that creosote cream work on your page?
Someone was burning, I know that much.
For those of you, I'm sure most of you do recall a few weeks ago, Micah confused creosote to an cream.
Cream.
Well, you said arse cream. No, it's not ice cream. Arse cream. Oh, dear. Right. We move on to Best Defender.
Ooh.
Our candidates are as follows: Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kieran Trippier, John Stones, Kyle Walker, Virgil van Dijk, and William Saliba.
Who's going first?
Micah's going first because he seems exceptionally keen.
Saliba! Yes!
That is a great song.
Come on, Gary. Alan, get with it. Get down with the kids. You didn't know what was coming there, did you?
I didn't. I thought you were having a fucking heart attack.
No, I said, Gary, you knew. I said, Alan didn't.
It's a good song, right? So, I mean, there's some excellent players in there who've had brilliant 2023s. Trent, tricky start to last season. He's had his troubles, but he's come back with a bang certainly since the season started. Already a couple of goals and 4 assists, and Liverpool at the top of the league with the most clean sheets, along with Newcastle and Arsenal. Kieran Trippier, I think, but for definitely a sticky December, would have absolutely been one of the favourites to win this prestigious award. John Stones, likewise, unbelievable performances, but few injuries since the start of this season. Kyle Walker is remarkable. I think he's very important, isn't he, to Manchester City's defence, because probably his place at the back allows them to play the way they do, as is also the case probably with England. Virgil van Dijk, coming back from a long injury. It's taken him a while, but he certainly seems to be back to his best. And the obvious William Saliba, who was beautifully sung into this by Micah Richards. And he's been a brilliant addition to Arsenal's squad over the last 18 months or so. So, Micah, this is your world, defenders, so you should lead.
Defenders. And we're just picking one, correct? Just one.
Well, that's what we normally do. Yeah, we can't have fucking two, can we? When it says best...
Hold on.
When it says best defender, it doesn't say fucking best defenders.
But hold on. I'm just querying it, that's all, because defenders, I mean... The fullback role now is completely different to a centre-back role.
All right, hang on a minute. Then, just to prove we don't have rules, we're going to separate.
Okay, that's...
We're going to have 12 awards. We're going to have best central defenders, and we're going to have best fullback. How about that?
You see what I mean, Gary? All it takes is a little bit of thought, you see?
Yeah. Okay, right, let's start with fullbacks. So we've got Trent, Kieran Trippier, and Kyle Walker.
There's only one winner there.
Oh, no, go on, surprises, Alex.
I had him down as whether we'd gone for a best defender or best fullback. I had him down as Kyle Walker.
Kyle Walker, yes.
I just think you said it. I think for everything that City do is integral because of the way they play. I mean, Micah said the fullback role has changed a little bit. I mean, he is still key to defending. I mean, John Stones does most of the getting into the midfield bit for Manchester City rather than Kyle Walker. So his role hasn't changed that much, Kyle Walker's. Virgil van Dijk is back to his best this season, not so much last season.
I quite like that. Virgil van Dijk.
Get on your bikes.
Virgil van Dijk, yeah. He's back to his best this season, not so much last season. Trent, I don't think he's a great defender, Trent, but in terms of what he does for Liverpool and his range of passing, his crossing is just out of this world. So I would class him more as a midfielder now than a defender. So for all of those reasons, I was going to go for Kyle Walker, and I'll still have him in as fullback. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've just put Virgil van Dijk in as a fullback, so I don't know how you managed to do that, but it's early. It's relatively early in the morning, so we'll forgive you that sin. Talking about Kyle Walker, comfortably Manchester City's best ever right back, right?
Debatable. I mean,
I bet you. I wonder if Kyle Walker's got his Barclays Man of the Match award stuck up in his just instead of the Club World Cup or the Champions League, I wonder if he's got his Barclays Man of the Match up. Yeah.
oh my God! But hey,
he's back up. He's looking for another trophy. He's got.
Is he doing enough for the community? The Blacklist trophy.
What?
The Blacklist. Do you know what I mean?
He's holding up a square of glass. Where's that?
2020 Blacklist Award.
Whose blacklist were you on?
But yes, in answer to your question, Gary,
Go on.
Zabaleta was always the one. And thank God he's been ousted by Kyle Walker. Thank God! Finally! He knows what it feels like to be in the shadows of one of his rivals. So, yes, without doubt, on a more serious note, Kyle Walker, I don't think he gets enough love because of the way fullback has maybe transformed in terms of way going forward. But I'll say it correctly. In terms of defensively, and it allows Man City to slip into that free at the back, and he, with his pace, is pivotal to that. So, yes, Kyle Walker, without doubt.
Trippier's had a brilliant 11 months there, and he's had one of those dips in form. Every player gets them at some stage over the last month or so, which has coincided, obviously, with injuries at Newcastle and a dip in their form as well. He's integral to them. He's
been absolutely magnificent for Newcastle. As you say, other than the last 4 or 5 weeks, he's made errors which he hasn't made at all at Newcastle. He is going through a tough spell, but as you said, everyone has them, and that shouldn't take away anything for what he's done for Newcastle, because from the moment he set foot into St James's Park, he's just been... He was a game changer for Newcastle. Everyone looked up to him. He was a captain, he was a leader, he was brilliant, defensively and attacking-wise.
Totally agree. I'm going to go with Kyle Walker as well. I think he's been the key, really, to the treble-winning team. Not necessarily in the creative form, they've got a lot of that, but that vital pace that he has, and no one gets the better of Kyle Walker. He's also Manchester City's only defender to have played in every match this season. Kyle Walker wins our fullback award, which takes us straight onto the best defender, best central defender, we'll now call it, which will be either Virgil van Dijk, William Saliba, or John Stones. Shall I lead on this one?
Yep, go on.
Yep, my turn. I think I'll probably... I mean, I love the way John Stones plays and the way he's kind of transitioned into... almost a midfield player has been extraordinary, but probably the fact he's been out a few months of the season injured just counts against him. Virgil van Dijk coming back to his... Well, he probably is back to his best now. He's amazing stats. He's the only defender that hasn't been dribbled past this season. Liverpool top of the league. and he's won the most aerial duels as well. But I'm going to go with William Saliba, who's also only been dribbled past once apparently this season, and he's very graceful, easy on the eye, glides across the grass, really good with the ball and without it. He's the sort of central defender, Alan, you wouldn't want to play against.
I agree with everything you've said about him, yeah. I mean, the other two agreed. I mean, I said about Virgil before, didn't I? I think he's definitely back to his best now this season, not so much last season. Saliba, I agree with everything you say. He's very, very... He's just good on the eye, isn't he? He's a classy centre-half. Times it to perfection, so... I'm not going to argue with any of you on that. So Saliba for me, yeah.
I was actually singing Saliba.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to put him in there. I think he can be the best. But we're going off this year. I just think John Stones... Now you say we're not just counting Premier League. He played in centre midfield from, like you said, Guy, from defence to midfield.
This is the best defender award.
Yes, but the art of defending has changed now. It's how you get on the ball, how you can create the angle, how you can break the lines, as all the people are saying now. But I still agree with you, Saliba. Defensive, come on!
Well, yes.
Drew you in there, didn't I?
He's been great. Okay, we're on to best midfield player. We've had a bit of debate here with the producers, fantasy playing people, that had Heung-min Son and Mo Salah in best midfielder because they're midfielders in fantasy football. I mean, is that taking over how we think about football now? Because they are forwards.
They are. Forwards all day.
So
goodness me.
Micah, as a fantasy playing member of our trio, your thoughts on what is a forward and what is a midfielder?
I agree with Harry that one of the producers of this, it is a midfielder in the game, in fantasy football. He's a midfielder.
That just shows you how that fantasy football is in. Because he's never ever been a midfielder.
Here he comes, the grumpy old man.
He's not a number 9, is he, Al? He's not. Do you know what I mean?
How can you ever describe Mo Salah as a midfielder? Come on.
But he is. He's a midfielder scoring goals from wide areas, wide forward-ish. He's in between, isn't he?
No, he's not in between. He's a forward.
But he's not, is he? He's a midfielder. I agree with H.
No, well, I'm sorry you've been overruled.
By forwards.
2-1. So we've got best midfielder, Rodri.
Oh. Stop the count. Stop the count, I said.
Declan Rice.
Stop the count, Gary.
Well, I've got to read the names out. Rodri, Declan Rice, or Bernardo Silva. I mean,
it's nailed on. I don't know what you're doing and ahhing about. Rodri, by far the best defensive midfielder I've seen since Busquets was on absolute fire. Scores in the Champions League final. When he doesn't play for Man City, they lose. What more does he have to do? His pass completion is about 90%. He always passes forward. He fills in for the centre-halves when they go gallivanting. What more do you want from the lad?
Well, Declan Rice has had a fantastic
captained his team to a European trophy.
Yeah, at West Ham, you've got to take that into account as well. I mean, what's more important, the Champions League or the Europa Conference League? I ask you.
For those West Ham fans, I know what was important.
Exactly. It's a European trophy, and he was brilliant in that, and he's actually transitioned into Arsenal's midfield with absolute ease and grace. Bernardo Silva as well. He's one of those you can qualify as a midfield player, I think, even though you could also qualify him as probably play anywhere. Actually, he's so brilliant on the ball, isn't he? Who are you going with, Alan?
As much as I'd love to put Declan Rice in there because of what he did for West Ham and he's doing for Arsenal now, it has to be Rodri. I mean, I hate agreeing with Micah, but for what he's won, for what he brings to that City team. They're not the same team when he's not in there. So Rodri has to be.
I'm a big fan of Rice. Declan Rice. He came on League of Their Own, and we've got a song, Rice, Rice, Baby. And he started doing his rap on League of Their Own, which we'll get the clips out, don't you worry. I'm his biggest fan. Next year is his time. But this year, it's Rodri.
How long did it take you to think of that song? Rice, baby.
Rice, baby. We'll have to wait till next year because it's a Rodri. Because I'm going to go with him as well. I think you have to. He's given all that they've won and how important he was, and scoring obviously the only goal in the Champions League final, as well as all his other brilliance. Even last week, wasn't it? 166 completed passes in one football match, which is completely nuts. Okay, we're sort of almost halfway through our awards, and we're going to take a break now and come back with the best forward. Hello and welcome back to the Rest is Football Creosote Awards that we're giving out this particular year. We've just had a little break in which Alan's been Googling the words of rice, baby, so that he knows the entirety of the song before we go to the Emirates on Sunday for Arsenal-Liverpool. Yep. So I expect Alan to be singing that tune during the match. Right, best forward. We've got our candidates as follows: Ollie Watkins, Erling Haaland. Then I've got to go back to my page of midfielders, and we're going to add to that list Heung-min Son, Bukayo Saka, and Mo Salah. Come on, Alan. As a forward.
I mean, if whoever you put on that list as number one, I don't think I would argue with it. It's just about your opinion, and just because of the way he just smashed goals left, right, and centre. Haaland, didn't he, last season? And the treble again. There's an argument for every one of them, but I think the biggest argument is for Haaland. Has to be, doesn't it? I know he's missed the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, but he's still banging the goals in this season. And for what he did last season, for me, it has to be him.
Yeah, I think it's hard to argue against Erling Haaland. I mean, I must say, I think Ollie Watkins has had a fabulous year, and to get on this list is an achievement in itself. Particularly for a player that's he's 28 now, but he seems to have upped his game over the last 12 months, probably helped by Unai Emery. And also, I mean, Mo Salah he's fantastically consistent, isn't he? Even during the period that Liverpool struggled a little bit, he continued to bang in the goals and get the assists. I think Bukayo Saka is a fabulous talent. I love watching him play. His decision making on the field is, I think, remarkable. Because it's so much easier when you're watching a game from our point of view, where we are. But he's one of those players that whenever you think pass it there, and he does, he always seems to make the right decision, almost as though he is looking at the game from a position way above. Heung-min Son burst back to form this season under Ange Postecoglou, which has been great to see. But yeah, I have to agree with you, Alan. Erling Haaland. I mean, what he did at the end of how many goals he scored last season, and he started this one brilliantly as well, albeit not quite as electric probably, and obviously he's had an injury over the last month or so. But I think you can't look beyond him, Micah.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think Haaland, just for the fact of when we've seen him Now,
He's going to die on us.
so
What have you done?
when we seen
You swallowed your Barclays Premier League trophy.
when we seen him at Dortmund, basically a little goal.
You were right, okay.
You swallowed that creosote, have you?
It does say on there, use on your arse, not on your throat.
Oh, brilliant. Anyway, when he was at Dortmund, if you looked at the goals that he scored, and it was a variety of different goals, and you two can back me up on this, but it was more goals running in behind, and the way they played in German football in Bundesliga, pretty much end to end. But he's found a way to score. Yes, Man City create a lot of chances, but with a low block, a defensive line who don't want to come out, and he's still finding space within the box to score all these goals. And Gary says it all the time, it's all about the movement, and that's what I think sets him apart from anyone else up top. So for me, it's definitely Haaland.
Yeah, it's got to be. Okay, we'll move on. Best coach. Pep Guardiola, the treble, world champions as well. Just 2 points behind Liverpool if they win their game in hand. Gary O'Neill kept Bournemouth up last season, unlucky to lose his job. Now 11th in the league with Wolves, done a terrific job as he's come in there. Who would have thought the best coach of the year could be a coach that has been sacked in that year? To be in the contenders is quite an achievement. I'm sure he'll be thrilled when he finds out. Unai Emery, what a job he's done at Aston Villa. Only second to Manchester City over the 12-month period. Had 25 wins and only 9 defeats. Now in a title race, possibly. Mikel Arteta challenged Manchester City for quite a long time, didn't he? Last season, just fell at the end. Bit of a miserable Christmas period. Other than that, they probably would have ended the year top of the league. Eddie Howe, your man, Alan, at Newcastle, secured Champions League football, punching well above their weight. They've also had a tricky spell over the last month or so. Bit unlucky in the Champions League to go out to that awful VAR decision. Jurgen Klopp, it was the first half of last season, which doesn't come into it, where they had that really bad half. Since then, they finished last season really well. Now top of the league, back to their energetic best, I would say. And obviously, it's difficult, I think, to go against.
It's only one.
Pep Guardiola.
There's only one you can. I mean, the others, they've all done really well in their own right, but Pep has to be Pep for what he did.
Yeah, well, I think we'll all be unanimous on that. Who would be your runner-up?
Emery, without doubt.
Emery, I'd go Emery as well, Micah. That's why I asked.
Without doubt, the points that he's picked up. The team that he's got to be playing at this level, but with consistency, and he's had some big injuries as well. He lost Buendia, he lost Mings, and he just brings players through. They know the job, they know the system, and he's got the feel-good factor back along with the tactics. So Emery definitely would be.
I'd argue Eddie Howe for what he did at Newcastle Champions League. Massively overachieved last season in finishing where they did. I know the last sort of 6 or 7 weeks have been really tough for him and for Newcastle. They've lost far too many games, conceded far too many goals, and where they are in the league now. But for most of 2023, has been unbelievable.
Let me ask you a question.
He's so loyal, isn't he? He's so loyal.
You can ask a question, yes.
Where do you think there's more pressure to play? At Aston Villa or at Newcastle, or would you say the similar?
To manage.
To play, to manage, whatever, because they're both two big clubs who demand so much, don't they, from whether that's results or just support, whatever it is, what he thinks. I would say Villa are the bigger club because they won the European Cup. You know what? Actually, don't put that because
look at Alan's face.
I don't want to get slated on Twitter.
That face.
But where is a harder place? Who demands more from their players and manager? Would you say?
I think it's both.
Well, I would say probably Newcastle because they had you, Michael. So they obviously weren't that. Didn't have great expectancy there.
It's got to be. I mean, they're both big clubs. Yeah, both got massive fan bases. So I couldn't say one. I mean, I've played at Newcastle, so I know what it's like. I've not, and obviously played at Villa Park, but not for Villa. So you'd be able to tell me better than that. But I just think because of Newcastle's wait for a trophy has been that long, and they've been that poor for a number of years now, and they're just coming out of that, then it's been a tough place to play as Newcastle. So I don't know. They're both big clubs. But I would definitely argue. I mean, yeah, Emery's doing doing a great job. Don't forget, he was actually he was on Newcastle's list originally, wasn't he, when they were looking for a manager? But he's coming to the Premier League and he's again, and I mean, he knew what it was about because he's been here before. So he's obviously gone away, done what he's had to do, and he's come back, I think, a much better manager, a great coach, and he's got Villa flying. Yeah. Great to watch.
Is Pep Guardiola the best coach ever? There's a question.
Subjective, but I would say in the
all these things are subjective.
In the modern era, yes. His Barcelona side, he won the treble with them. He's come to Man City.
5 trophies with them as well, I think. The same as he's done with Manchester City in 23.
That's what I mean. I just believe he evolved the game so much. And that's no disrespect to the other managers. I really liked Fergie, even though Sir Alex Ferguson, shall I say. I really liked the way he could sort of galvanise his teams, and you always knew something special was going to happen and they would fight to the end. And that's coming from someone who's played for City. So Fergie was always my number one from my era. But just the way the game's transformed, I would have to say Pep.
Ancelotti, there's an argument, no? I mean,
I think Ancelotti's got to have an argument. I'm not sure you could argue he's transformed Bellingham into a kind of number 10, but I think Bellingham's done that himself. But it's just the way Pep changes players and improves players. And I think the difference perhaps between Ancelotti, who'd have to be in anyone's top 3 ever given his record, I think perhaps the difference is how Pep's changed the game, and then other coaches just copy him and follow. And I think that's the sign of true
Agreed.
Greatness. But Pep has to win our award, and I bet he'll be absolutely delighted when he finds out, because I know how much he values the Creosote Awards.
He can put that alongside his Club World Cup, and how delighted he'll be to have the 2023 Creosote Award. Amazing. That's on his CV now.
A tin of creosote is on its way. Right, overachievers. This is. We've got the underachievers to follow, but let's start with overachievers. We've got Aston Villa, who obviously flying high, currently second in the Premier League, just behind Liverpool. Wolves as well. I think they've surprised a lot of us this season. Bournemouth certainly have, particularly given their poor start to the season. And we've got Everton in there because, they're only just above the drop zone. But that is with, of course, a 10-point deduction as it stands at the moment. So they're making a really good fist of things. Interesting, isn't it, that at the start of the season we talked about Gary O'Neill being fired by Bournemouth and bringing in Iraola. And we thought one of them would be wrong, but actually they've sort of both been right. Great appointments for Wolves, and a great appointment is proving to be with Bournemouth. If they'd stuck with Gary O'Neill, I suspect they'd have probably been somewhere similar. Who knows? We'll never know. Micah, you start with this one.
I like the Everton shout, guys. I know you said you added that later, but Everton, if you think about how toxic it was to go to Everton, I did a game there last season, and everything was so tense. It was sort of do or die. Are they going to go up? Are they going to stay up? Are they going to go down? What's going to happen with the new stadium? Do they want to be in that new stadium while being in the Championship? Could they recover with all the financial problems, spending 500 million and not really having a set team, and then to be deducted 10 points and still not be bottom of the Premier League? I think Sean Dyche, the players, the fans, the staff need a lot of credit. And no one wants to be the overachievers, but I think in this case, all with what they've had to deal with, I would go with Everton.
Yeah, we don't want to see that new stadium in the Championship, although Liverpool fans might.
No, I don't think they would they?
I don't think they would. They'd miss that Merseyside derby. I'll go next. I think it's hard to look past Aston Villa, personally. I think what they've done, amazing start. And also, if you have to take, it's 12 months, of course, and Everton at the end of last season, they only just scraped up. So I think Wolves and Bournemouth deserve their mention, but I mean, Aston Villa, second in the table. I mean, no one would have predicted that at the start of the season.
No, not at all. In the hunt for the title, when you look at other clubs and how much other clubs have spent, I know Aston Villa have spent a few quid, but nowhere near as. I mean, when you look at Chelsea and you look at Man United and you look at and the job that he's doing, and he doesn't massively rotate all the time, does he? As well, with them playing in Europe as well. So for them to do that as well as still be in where they are in the league, and mixing it with the big boys, I think it has to be Unai Emery and Aston Villa.
I agree. I'm just going to throw another team in here, though. I think we've forgotten. West Ham.
The Hammers!
They won their first ever European trophy in 2023. They're really going well under David Moyes. Bizarrely, I found it, after about a month or two into the season, a lot of West Ham fans were wanting Moyes out.
I know, I find that amusing.
He's tried and trusted. I think sometimes that grass is always green on the other side thing. I think West Ham definitely deserve an honorary mention. Okay, that's... But overall, that's 2-1 for Aston Villa. So it's Aston Villa who win the 2023 Overachievers Award. So on to Underachievers. Alan mentioned one or two of the sides in there. Chelsea, of course, who've underachieved for a couple of seasons now. Manchester United, who look like they're on the path to recovery in 2023. And perhaps it's a little bit cruel on them to put them in here because they did win a trophy, of course. Burnley, who got promoted and marched away as champions in the Championship, are in Underachievers, which suggests we've forgotten about the first half of the season. But I think we know what the reasons behind this are and their real struggles in the Premier League. And Brentford as well are in there. And I think that's a bit cruel on Brentford personally. I think they've been punching above their weight, obviously, for quite some time, and they've had a good start to the season and then a run of bad injuries, which it's hard to cope with. So, personally, for me, if I can take the lead,
we make the list, Gaz. If you don't want Brentford in, take them out.
All right, I'll take them out.
Yeah, take them out.
Idea. This is brilliant. They should do this on the Oscars. They should somebody go on the stage. They went, actually, that film was a bit crap. Why don't we take that one out? No rules.
No rules
here. Not in the Creosote Awards. No. So, yeah, they're out. Brentford out. I'm not having that. Okay, so I'll start. I'm going to go with, it's a tight one between the two, but because Man United actually had a reasonable second half of last season, which qualifies as this year. I'm going to have to say Chelsea. The amount of money they've spent, they are certainly underachieving.
Yeah, definitely Chelsea has to be, with the ridiculous amount of money that's been spent there, and for them to still be in and around mid-table. 1 week you think, okay, the next week you think, how bad are they? So yeah, for me, it has to be Chelsea.
Yep, agreed. It's a triple threat. We're all Chelsea. The players that they have as well, got some really talented players. So, yep, I agree, Chelsea.
Can they turn it around in 2024 and become the Chelsea that they were?
Not what they were, not in 2024. It's taken longer than that. You're not just going to click your finger and it all of a sudden be okay. No, I think they'll without doubt improve, and they'll probably spend again. But no, they can't be back to where they were within the next 12 months. No chance.
Do they have to stick with Pochettino, get some stability?
Definitely.
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, definitely.
Without doubt. Stability, build from that. Get some good young players playing to the best. Get Reece James back, get Chilwell back, and get a striker ASAP.
I sense our next category will be the easiest decision, probably, because it's goal of the year. We've got in here Michael Elise versus Luton, sensational goal. All these are actually. Julio Enciso versus Manchester City, that was a cracker, as was Jack Harrison's against Bournemouth. But there is one in there, of course, Alejandro Garnacho.
Yeah.
And the Rooney-esque overhead kick, which we think probably usurped Wayne Rooney's as the best overhead kick we've seen in the Premier League.
Some wonderful goals in there, but there's only one. I mean, probably shouldn't waste any more time in discussing the others, because that's it. It's the standout goal. It's the goal of the year, no doubt about it.
Is it the best ever Premier League goal?
Ooh,
that is a question to take it forward next time. It's definitely the goal of the year by far.
What's more difficult, scoring an overhead kick like that, or Wayne Rooney did, or doing what David Beckham did, or Harry Kane did this season, scoring from your own half?
The overhead kick has to be, doesn't it? Yeah,
easy.
I think so. Yeah.
Anyone could hoof it 50 yards up the. I mean, come on. You could hoof it. Even I could do that.
You were a regular at hoofing it into the stands.
Stand finders.
That is harsh. Does it beat? I think when we did Match of the Day top 10 goals ever in the Premier League, I think we voted Bergkamp's. Does it beat Dennis Bergkamp's flicky turny round the thing? Round the corner?
No, I don't think so. No, I think that is just. I think we've never seen one like Bergkamp's before, have we? We've seen the overhead kicks, and we know how difficult they are. But I mean, Bergkamp's was. Bergkamp was
still number one. Still number one.
I think the second was Suarez's. Was it over the shoulder one? Remember that one? That was extraordinary. But yeah, Garnacho is not only goal of this season or goal of the year, but he's also a contender for best goal ever in the Premier League. We move on to the best English player in the Premier League. Contenders are Bukayo Saka, Phil Foden, Jared Bowen, John Stones, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Declan Rice, Ollie Watkins, Kieran Trippier, and Kyle Walker. Here's a tough one. There's not much in it with a lot of these.
Oh.
Whoa. Go on, Micah. You look like you're set and decided.
You know, on my notes, I've put Saka. I was doing my notes last night, and I was thinking, in this year, who was stepped up when needed? He got England Player of the Year for 2023, I believe. He's been outstanding for Arsenal. He's really good every time he plays for England as well.
You've got a butt coming here. I can smell it.
No, I have got a butt, but But he didn't win anything, did he? He didn't win.
You've not only got a butt, you always stick creosote on it.
Take a full
It's a
tin to
running
put
joke.
that on that arse as well, by the way.
Oh, don't.
You're in good form, Alan. You're in good form. But I'm looking at Kyle Walker, what he's done. But we had Kyle Walker as best defender, didn't we? So I'm going to give it to Saka.
Okay, that's fair enough. Alan?
Yeah. This is a tough one because there's so many good English players in there, isn't there?
I'm actually going to go with another Arsenal player.
Oh, yeah. Declan
Rice. I think you've got to take into account as well what he did at West Ham, because it's 2023. Lifted a trophy. Then he had that enormous move to Arsenal for a huge fee. And he's just stepped into things like he's been there all his career. And I think he's been brilliant. Probably him and Saka's been brilliant as well. I love Saka to bits. In fact, so many of these players. But I think I'm going to go with Declan Rice. So, Alan, it's up to you, really. God knows what we do if you decide someone else.
I know, yeah. Yeah, there's arguments. I agree with you, when you look at how long it took West Ham to get that trophy, how he led them there, how he's just fitted into Arsenal perfectly. So, yeah, I'm going to go with you, Gary. I'm going to go with Declan Rice. I think he's superb, and he'll play a huge part for England in the summer.
Well, there you go. Sorry, Micah.
What a bunch of bellends.
We've got a special. It's basically the Micah Richards Award.
Okay.
The Bursting on the Scene Award, which is another way of saying Young Player of the Year Award. Cole Palmer, who's had a sensational start for Chelsea since he went there in the summer. Anthony Gordon, who's done exceptionally well at Newcastle since he moved. Lewis Miley, very young man, 17 years old. He's come in at a time when Newcastle was struggling with injuries, and he's become a regular. Destiny Udogie, 20 years old, that's all. One of the best additions, I think, to the Premier League this season. Kobe Mainu, the 18-year-old that's come into the Manchester United team and certainly done well. And we've put in Jared Branthwaite, the 21-year-old. He's been very good at as a central defender for Everton this season. You kick off, Alan. Go on, you go.
Okay. Originally I thought I was going to pick Lewis Miley because of 17 and coming to Newcastle at a really difficult time, but he has stood out when it's been tough for them. But of that list, I'm going to go with Cole Palmer. I think people knew that he was good. One or two were surprised that he was let go. But I think the way he's sort of fitted into that Chelsea team when they've been struggling, and he's the one to shine most weeks, and without him they'd be in a bigger mess than what they are now. So I'm going to say Cole Palmer.
But hold on, okay. Let me tell you how this works, because it's not just a normal award. It's bursting. It's bursting on the scene. So when you think of a moment that just he captures, like the Luke Littler, you know what I mean? He captured the nation. They followed him early doors. Oh, he's just a 16-year-old doing well. And then by the semi-final, the whole of the nation's watching the final. That is what you call bursting on the scene.
Did you watch it, Micah?
I can't remember a moment where Cole Palmer burst. He's just been excellent all the way through. But he's not had that moment. So I'm going to add someone. Mm-hmm. And since it's the Micah Award,
go on then, who?
I'm going to add Micah Hamilton, who scored in the Champions League on his debut against Red Star Belgrade. And that is what you call bursting onto the scene.
Scoring a goal against Red Star Belgrade. Okay, fair enough. We'll put him on the list. We'll put him on the list. But he ain't going to win it.
Well, that's very fine, is it? It's not very nice.
Because I'm going to agree with Alan. I think Cole Palmer. I think you mentioned it, Alan. He's come into a side that's had a tough time and is struggling, and that is the most difficult time to excel. And the fact that he's done it, and so impressively so, I think you have to go Cole Palmer.
I'm going to agree with Alan because I worked at the BBC for so many years, and I love him so much. Look at his face. Look at his face.
What an unbelievably good East Midlands accent that was. It's Cole Palmer, it is, though. You can take the piss all you like. Yeah. If he'd have still been at Manchester City, he'd have definitely got your vote. Right, we have a Best Overseas Player of 2023 award. And this is quite a list. Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Victor Osimhen, Lautaro Martinez. There's also Lionel Messi in here. That's because producer Harry's even more obsessed with him than I am. He says, you've got to have Messi. I went, well, no, not if the World Cup would have been in this calendar year, then yes. But I think the days of Lionel Messi and Cristiano, now they've kind of taken semi-retirement, shall we say. It'd be very unlikely if they, who knows though, they'll probably come back and win the World Cup or something. Right. Oof.
Go on, Micah.
Micah, because we upset you in the last one.
Jude, what he's doing at Real Madrid, it's just hard. It's just hard to look the other way. I mean, that age, going over there, settling in and living up to the hype. 18 goals within the year. But I'm also looking at Martinez, and I'm looking at Martinez because obviously he come off the winning the World Cup, but that was the month before. But he scored 29 goals in that year. Lautaro Martinez, Argentina World Cup.
Missed an absolute sitter in the last minute.
I mean, we've all been there. Kylian's my guy. Kylian is my guy. I think he's the best player, hands down. But I just think for the pressure and what he's had to deal with and live up to it, I'm going to go with Jude Bellingham.
Me too. I think what he's done, I think we all knew he was a really, really good player. But for what he's done in going there and scoring the goals, playing a 10 role, playing a slightly different role, to that size of football club at that young age, and to stand out every single week and score the goals that he has done. I mean, it's an unbelievable achievement, you know. To do it week after week after week with the pressures on you. So for me, Jude Bellingham,
Yeah, he's been sensational. Mbappe's continued to be absolutely brilliant. He's probably not in the league or the place where he's going to catch the eye. They're not going to win Champions Leagues, I don't think, yet either. Harry Kane, I think, has done wonderfully well. I mean, still managed to bang in a lot of goals when Tottenham was struggling. Now he's gone to Bayern Munich and he's taken to it like a duck to water. He scored 38 league goals this calendar year, which is a hell of a lot. Jude Bellingham, though, I agree with you. I think what he's done, he's taken the world by storm. To join a club where they're so used to having Galacticos and superstars, and he's gone there and he's bossed it. He's the leader already. You can see that in the way he plays. So it's a unanimous Jude Bellingham vote. He is our best overseas player of 2023. Our final award, the Player of the Year. Our candidates are as follows: Erling Haaland, Mo Salah, Ollie Watkins, Rodri. This is the one we've all been waiting for. This is the moment of real tension. Who's it going to be?
Have we got a drum roll?
Alan.
Ooh, Alan, okay. Erling Haaland. Not a shadow of a doubt. The goals, the trophies, his stature, all of those things. It has to be him.
A lot of people felt he was unlucky to miss out on the Ballon d'Or, and I think if it hadn't have been for the fact that the World Cup was taken into consideration, which you have to say they did say that would actually be the thing before the World Cup. They didn't just decide after it. I think he probably would have won. So I'm going to agree with you, Alan. I think what Erling Haaland has done, and he's one of our own in the sense that he's that the poacher, the man that likes to make his movement in the box, and a lot of them are tap-ins, and people go, oh yeah, well, he's just a tap-in merchant, but you've got to be there, and not everyone can do it. Micah?
Treble first season, but that's not good enough. Let's add the Super Cup, but that's not good enough. The Club World Cup as well. Absolutely brilliant. Fantastic five. Erling Haaland. Off you pop.
Off you pop. And there you have it. That is the conclusion of our 2023 Creosote Awards. Congratulations to Alisson, our best goalkeeper. Carl Walker, our best fullback. Saliba, the best central defender. Rodri in midfield. Haaland up front. Pep is our manager. Aston Villa were our overachievers. Chelsea our underachievers. Garnacho won goal of the season. Declan Rice won English player of the year, I should say, of the year, all these awards, not the season. Cole Palmer, our bursting onto the scene, Micah Richards award. And Jude Bellingham, the Overseas Award, and the main award, our player of 2023, Erling Haaland. Well, that was all right. We even came up with an extra award. We threw in a few extra players, and we had a bit of fun, which is the main thing. Obviously, all of you listening to this, you'll have your own opinions, and by all means, share those opinions on X, and we'll take no notice because it's really not that important. But it's a bit of fun, and we've enjoyed it. And it was a cracking 2023 in terms of football. And let's hope we get a even better 2024.
Yeah, agreed.
Indeed.
Okay, well, that's it from us. Until next week, goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me. Have a good weekend.